first of all, I would like to set some ground rules here. I know every one of our phone is on silent, but we need to make sure if it's actually on silent. We're allowed to use phone for taking notes, taking pictures, but not receiving the calls at this moment. I've also kept my phone on silent. I'm quite a busy person, but still I've kept my phone on silent. You can do that too. So, and another second rule, or let me say it would be a rule. We will enjoy this 1 hour. We'll enjoy this. We will try to remember what these inspiring people have to say, not only for tomorrow, not only for day after tomorrow, but for years and years. And starting this panel discussion, there's one person in the panel who was in the audience last year. That panelist would be disclosing himself or herself at the end, but as I talked during free time, the panelist had said that last year, when the panelist was among the audience, the mind was fixed that one day, not one day, next year, I'm gonna be in that stage, I'm gonna be one of the panelists. So this is an opportunity, a golden opportunity for everyone in the audience to start dreaming of growing and glowing. So I start this panel discussion with a simple question to every one of you. I'm very strict with the time, so when I say 2 minutes, it's actually 2 minutes, please. And because we're dynamic people, we will be obliged to that. The first question would be, it's kind of deep and serious as well, because we're talking about empowerment. Can I ask you in 3 words, what does empowerment mean to you? Only in 3 words. So Jafar did raise his hand, so starting from Jafar.
Should I start? Yeah. Assalam Alaikum. Hi. This is Zafar Wasim from Pakistan, 19-year-old teenager and ambassador of Prime Minister Youth Program and a public speaker. So the question is raised to me, what is empowerment? I consider empowerment as the ability to know yourself, ability to know who you really are. Because wherever I go, I got this topic because I consider my life as I was empowered at a stage of my life. Like when I was 17, 2 years ago, I had that time, I'm a part of a broken family. I got dropped from my college, I had to leave, I was in Ahmedabad. And I came to federal capital, Islamabad, and at that time, I had few dreams. And I started off working in a call center. My shift was starting from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. And I used to do call centers, and I have experience of call center, and in call center, I used to talk to the Western people, and I learned from that. And then there came a time I got 100% scholarship, merit-based in Islamabad. I started studying. I used to do my work as well. I used to get at 6 a.m. back from my office, and then at 12, it was till my college, and I used to sleep till 4. And after that, I participated in different public speaking competitions, and I got the award of Best Speaker of Pakistan, and I was also recognized by Prime Minister himself as I'm here today. So at time, I considered myself, I thought about it, what is empowerment? I knew myself, I had a dream, I always had a dream to just represent my country at international forum, and 2 years later, today, here I am in front of you people representing Pakistan and my country.
Thank you so much, Jafar. Now we would go to Jenny. And 3 keywords, please. Jafar, you actually didn't obey to the rule, but I have some takeaway from what you have said, and that's inspiring, and I cannot stop you when you're on the flow. Jenny, you can shortly introduce yourself, and please don't forget 3 words, keywords.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jenny Vihara. I come from Tokyo. I'm 18 years old, and I'm the founder of Teens for Equality Japan. We're basically an organization where we educate Japanese youth on gender issues based in Japan. And so in 3 words, I think empowerment would be to share confidence. And what I mean by this is I think empowerment is to find confidence in yourself. And once you find that, to share that with others. And so sometimes in my life, there are times where I feel like, wow, like I'm so lucky to be a girl. Whether that's I don't know, like when like the outfits I wear, like I'm so happy to be a girl. Or when I input an opinion among like a place where there's only guys and like one girl, like I'm lucky to be a girl. And this is something that empowers me. Being a girl. And then now that I know what it's like to feel empowered, I think you want to like share how that feels to someone else. And so I think that's empowerment, sharing that feeling of, wow, like, look at me. And then to give that to someone else and be like, well, look at you. Look at what you're doing. Yeah, thank you.
Vaibhav?
Hello, everyone. A little bit of more energy. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for that energy. I am Vaibhav Nahata. I come from the eastern part of Nepal called Biratnagar. 2 years back, I was there in my classroom when I was in class 10th. I took the water bottle, poured the water over my head, and asked, why me always? When I was in a school, I was the favorite bully victim. I was favorite bully victim in my school. I don't share this very often, but in this platform, I want to share. In my school, if there was one guy you want to release your frustration up to, you come to Vaibhav. And that was Vaibhav. And within 2 years, something happened that completely transformed my life. And when we talk about empowerment, ma'am, the 3 words, I really mean it from the very bottom of my heart. As ma'am asked the 3 words of empowerment, I really mean it that if we realize these 3 words from the very bottom of heart, everything will change. And those 3 words that I use every single day in a mirror, I say to myself, is that we are champions. To me, empowerment is realizing that we are champions. So when I say, who are we? All of us have to together say, we are champions. Can we do that? Yes. Who are we? Who are we? Who are we? Thank you so much for that energy. I'm really very grateful.
Thank you, Vaibhav. It was 1 minute and 10 seconds. It was really nice. Ivo, please.
All right, I will try also to suit the rule, stick to the time. All right, so as some of you might know, my name is Ivo Adam Chachulski. I'm originally from Poland, now studying in UK in a British boarding school and pursuing my international baccalaureate diploma program. And focusing back on the empowerment, I'm sorry, it wouldn't be 3 words because it would be grammatically incorrect. But basically, I would define it a bit differently. I would say it's a power or authority to fight for own's rights, for own's freedoms. And I hope that, I think we can agree here all, that we will try to do our best and give it to you today.
50 seconds. Nice. Yeah.
Hello everyone, this is Shardul Deshmukh. I come from India. 19-year-old, I'm currently pursuing my computer sciences, 3rd year of my university. And as my asked, the 3 keywords according to me that define empowerment are value, motivation, and, okay, I'm short of 1 word, but I'll think of it. It's value because, I say value because whatever, okay, the 3rd one might be getting to do what you love to do. So I say value because I think whatever we do, I try to, add value in someone else's life, that whatever I'm doing, I, add value and I motivate them. I try to do that. I motivate all these young people that come up to me, ask me that how are you, doing what I'm doing. Like I actually work for these few SDGs in the southern part of my country, and most of my work is about gender equality. So I try to motivate youth to take up, try to work in this field and change the scenario that is today. And value, motivation, and that's it. I mean, I think I'm done, yeah.
Thank you so much. So nice. From all of these panelists, we have some common words that has come, and I find one of them motivation, self-motivation. Second, hard labor. There's no shortcut to hard labor. And third is believing on yourself, right? Every five of them shared these things that was common. I would like to know from all of you, what was, I don't know if there was any events or if there was something that triggered you to come to this path. While many of us youths, many of the teenagers right now and all over the globe are busy in the social media, in all other stuffs that's not productive, you guys are here representing your country. What is the thing that triggered you? What are the events that triggered you to be a social activist, to be an entrepreneur, to work for gender rights, to be recognized by the head of the country, and to be motivating hundreds and thousands of people? What are the things that triggered you? And for this, I would give 2.5 minutes. Thank you. Shardul?
Okay, so something that triggered me to, do what I'm doing is I see these two girls sitting outside my university gate at 4 p.m. every day and just staring at people walking out of the gate. And one day I went and I asked them that, what is it that, why are you sitting here every day? Like, you see these two constant faces the moment you walk out of the university. And they were like, I think they were like 13, 14 years old. And when I asked them, they were like, we like to see students walking out of the gates and as they're, they're reading and they're studying and they're pursuing whatever they like. And they were a bit underprivileged and they didn't have the opportunity to go to university. So I thought why not create a wing under a student body where we actually get all these underprivileged girls and boys all around from the area that my university is, and give them classes and whatever courses or whatever they feel like to do, like maybe music, maybe literature, maybe anything of that matter. Then I approached my pro-vice chancellor of the university we have this initiative and we want to go forward with it. And he was very supportive. Actually, we built a wing under a student body named Kalakriti. And now we have a class of 60 strong, I would say 13 to 17-year-old underprivileged kids. And yeah, and we, try to teach them whatever they feel like, as in even we go perform for them, like we have like these activities so that they feel like home, as in they feel that they are a part of the university. So.
Shardul, why do you feel like working for the underprivileged? Why does it matter to you to work for them?
Okay, so as I said, when I see those two girls standing there every day, somewhere I felt that I was privileged enough to go to that university, but then those two kids, they didn't have that, maybe finances to afford the university or something. So as one of my friend mentioned that in the earlier panels, that don't they play a part in development of the country? They do, right? You can't just neglect them. So I think that's where I felt that, even they should have, they should get a chance to, show their potential, because there's huge potential, but then they just don't have the resources to, show their talent and stuff. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shardul. I would like to go to the Jaffer.
So I think Ajay is here. Yeah, Ajay is there. I'm the first participant, a speaker from Pakistan to be here at GITC. Earlier, my cousin, she got selected and she was about to come over here, but due to that our family system, she was not allowed to be over here. And at that time, she told me that you will apply after a year and you will go over here. And the kind of condition we have, like we are from the northern part of Pakistan, and over there, you know, the girls, they're not let to go for education. So at that time, I thought that I will work for it, and I started it off from my own. Today, my sister is studying in the city, and she got third prize in the division during her exam. And along with her, 10 girls, they are in the city. I started off campus at my own home at the top. Over there, I used to call my friends, whatever we had, we used to share with those girls and let those know that what they really are, what they can do. And I still believe that in empowerment, you have to stand in the corridors of truth. When I say standing in the corridors of truth, it means to stand amid the chaos of human condition. And in those time of wonders, you know who you really are. Who am I? What is my purpose?
Thank you so much. Vaibhav?
So my story of coming to this is completely different. So what happened is that 2 years back, as I said I was going to Calcutta for a 7-day camp. And I was going with a bunch of 7 to 10 people. And when I was going there, I was just fighting with everyone as I was. And as soon as I reached to that program, the camp, within that 7 days, what happened, I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't explain that. But when I was returning, my friends in the train were like, "Ho kya gaya isko? What has happened to him? What will we say his mother? He's so silent, he's not speaking." And then what happened is that when I came back after that 7 camp, I knew that I have got the inertia in me. I knew that I have got the initial energy that I needed. It was called a Rashtriya Sanskar Nimachi. I knew that I had got that energy, but what I also knew is that motivation is like, right now, I am motivated. And by tomorrow morning, I'll be like, am I motivated? So that's the characteristic of motivation. So I made some strict goals for myself that within the next 7 days, this is what I'll do. I'll make 3 programs happen. Thereafter, I was very fortunate to have wonderful mentors like Ashish sir, wonderful mentors like Bhesraj sir. There are many people who helped me be in this journey. My college, Maryland College, Biratnagar, Lakshman sir, Diva sir, in this platform, from this international platform, I want to give them a thank you from this. And moreover, when it's talk about transformation, I think that the realization, a very simple realization that who are we? This is what is more than enough for us to ignite ourselves, for us to transform ourselves as people and bring around a complete breakthrough. Thank you.
Thank you. Now going to Evo.
All right, so first thing to mention from me is that coming here is a result of an events which happened in my life in the last year. I would like to share a short story about what happened to me, because I believe like in learning by experience, so real life examples are always the best ones. You've also asked why I keep doing what I'm doing. Why I work as social activist, entrepreneur, and lots of different things along those lines. I would say that it's something with what I'm doing in return, because I was given a few different scholarships in British high schools, and in full scholarships. I don't pay for these schools at all, although they are private and they are like very, very, very expensive. And it opened lots of ways for me, lots of opportunities, because I always wanted to study abroad. You won't imagine how much I wanted to just try something new, immerse in new culture, immerse in new society, new community. And that dream finally came true last year. But apart from that, it also opened a lot of ways which we commonly call networking. Because not only in the British schools, but also in Polish students, which sometimes, it's very rare, but sometimes they get scholarships in such schools, and they form some kind of network. And like the most important event which we did together in this network was organizing blockchain conference. I don't know how many of you know what blockchain is, But basically, I would just say it's technology which might drive a world in the future. Simple as that. It might be a new internet. Slowly, slowly, but maybe in 30 years, it will be a new internet. And basically, we organized an event in Warsaw for more than 600 participants at National Stadium. We attracted so many different partners, for example, Microsoft, IBM, lots of embassies from all over the world. And it gave us so much power that we knew that we cannot stop in it and just go further, go further, go further, go further. And what I did next was funding a blog which was connected fully to the conference, and blog which aim was to educate people about blockchain technology. As you know, blockchain is still a new one. It's still like not very known, as you can see here, and it's something which knowledge is really needed, I would say, and especially in Polish. Like I think in Nepalese might be the same, that there's no enough data available in the market, and we just wanted to change it. And what happened in the next 6 months afterwards was that we organized fully from a very, very bottom a blog, which is now like commonly known in Poland, which has a big readership. But what's most important for me, what's most important for me is that we managed to do a lot of great interviews. For example, we did an interview with Polish Minister of Digital Affairs, former CEO of Bank of China, and so on and so on and so on. It's like such things really make you fly, honestly. Like from my perspective, like I know that each of you here is in different state of life as well, but in different state of development. But we all started from the very bottom, and it's only your role to just put yourself up and just grow and grow and grow and grow. It will come later or sooner, but it always comes. Just keep working on yourself, keep fighting, and it always comes. Trust me. At least that's what I've experienced in the last year, and obviously maybe later, right? Or can I just finish this?
No, you'll get the mic again. So for now,
all right, so no, just to finish this point.
Okay.
So it's just one example, right? There are lots of such examples. The thing is that it's always your decision what you wanna do and how you wanna do it. If you know these two things, there should be nothing stopping you.
I'm so sorry, well, you were on the floor, but I also know that when we're on the panel, where we're on the stage, we feel so overwhelmed. We want to share everything we have because we know what empowerment is, and we want to share that empowerment thing. That's not magic, that's a step-by-step thing. We just want to share it, and I could literally feel what you were feeling, Ivo, while you were sharing the things. I'm again sorry for provoking you. Now, Jenny, I would like to add another question as well, which I would be asking to other panelists. You're an activist, and you also mentioned the word gender. And when it comes to gender empowerment, people literally give synonym of women empowerment to gender empowerment all across. Like it's just we've just started this conversation to go deep into gender. I would like you to answer how and why did you want to be an activist, and even while you were an activist, what were some of the key problems that you had to face?
Okay, thank you. So how did I start? Well, basically in my school we have physical education class, and we do gymnastics. And so to do gymnastics, we have to bring in like mats, like vaults, like a lot of like equipment. But when that process happened, the teacher would only call on the boys to carry the heavy stuff, and then the girls, it would be like, you know, you guys can rest, like you guys are girls, like the guys are stronger than the guys, whatever. And then this is really small, but if you think about it, Japan is like, I don't know, one of the most developed countries in the world. Like we have a lot of like economic power. We have all of these things, but as a student, I still have to deal with like gender discrimination on a daily basis. Like that's ridiculous, right? And so it was something really small, but I guess I questioned the normal that was in my community. And then that kind of led to me wanting to speak out about it, because about injustice. And so I think like a lot of the times like we expect like something big has to happen in your life to do something about it. But then I think what we forget is that even questioning the smallest parts of what we think is normal, and then questioning that and being like, wait, but that's not right, or, you know, I don't think this is a good system. And once we question that, I think we can start developing like new solutions. And that's how like we can all start becoming activists for a better cause. And so when I started my activism with gender equality, like the moderator said, I did run into a lot of men who told me, isn't gender equality only for girls? Like, where do men come into the conversation? And one thing I want to say is that, yes, gender equality does emphasize girls. Like, I admit that, but it emphasizes girls because there has to be an elevation in women for us to reach men. And so, because that's equality. And if you think about it, it's kind of like a weighing scale where men are higher up, men are above, and in a lot of cases, women are below. So how are we going to adjust this scale? Well, we're going to have to push from below. And so that is one approach to that. But another thing I feel like we all have to remember is that men are part of the conversation as well. There is a lot men can do, including, I don't know, adding more women into conference tables, you know, like inviting girls to speak in panels like this. Like, men do have a role as well. I feel like in society that's not spoken about yet, but men do play a big role. And I feel like as, I guess like the men here, like you guys can start searching for ways in order to help women.
Thank you, Jenny. So before this panel began, I just wandered around the audiences and asked what are their expectations with this panel. And some of their queries were simple yet serious. Like, how do you take a first step? What about the finance? You have to do programs. You are doing programs on a lot of things. You have peer pressures. You have pressure from your mother and father of calling you insane because you're doing something that's out of the box. That's not what the neighbors' kids are doing, and you're doing something different. So they always have these issues, and these are also kind of the problems that have stopped many of the teens, many of the youths to step forward. So what were the solutions for it, like for financial things and for the first step that you had to take? And another thing attached to the financial problem was you shall have the network to ask the sponsorship or ask the donations for the program. But while you are in your teenage, while you're youth, you don't have that big circle. So how do you actually get started to this? Anyone can raise their hand and start it. Jafar.
So when we ask about starting up, getting started with something, oh, it was that?
Yeah. Oh. That's fine, you can continue.
Yeah, you can continue, Babu. That's okay, that's all right.
Yeah,
you can continue, that's all right.
So what I was saying is that when we talk about getting started up, it's very simple, you know. It's just that when you are starting, you have to start very, very small. It's like when you are asked to build a wall, you don't build a wall. You just don't say that I'm going to build the best wall. You say that I'm going to lay a single brick and I'll lay this with as much perfection as possible. And when we start that, when we start doing it, when we start laying the first brick, everyone around is like, you cannot build that wall. It's not possible. See your height, see your age, see your face, see your family background. They come up with all the excuses and tell you why it's not possible. So in my personal case, when I talk about, I belong to a Marwadi Bania family. So what happens is that all of us from a very young age are expected to sit in offices of our parents in shops. And I was one very unique, like I didn't go to office or shop. And I was like my mother in the initial days, it was like, see, he's in the office, see, he's in that, see, he's making their money. And I learned slowly and slowly, she saw that it is possible. The money is coming in slowly, and that's how they realize. So it's about making sure that when I lay that first brick, it realizing beforehand that everything in the world will come and try to stop me at that point of time. But my belief that I have to set that first brick is what brings all the difference. It's what brings the complete transformation that has to be brought about. Thank you.
So the question was like, yes, you face obstacles, hindrances, there are they. But it's the courage you find in yourself. I just want to mention Jamak Gimere, Nepali lady. So, like, she was born with a cerebral palsy, but still, she had that courage to learn and write. So, as earlier, there's a question from the crowd and just answered. I want to just connect with it. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But they will never forget how you made them feel. So, I just want to add up an Urdu poetry to it. Like, बारे दुनिया के रहो, गमज़दा या शाद रहो. बारे दुनिया के रहो, गमज़दा या शाद रहो. कुछ ऐसा कर चलो यहाँ कि बहुत याद रहो. So, it's about, like, don't aspire to make a living. Aspire to make a difference. And another question that was beautifully answered by my Indian fellow, that was about humanity. Like, you don't find humanity today. If you don't find it, you create it. Don't just get lost in generality. Don't just go to the sky. There are obstacles, there are hindrances, but trust me, the people who are going to point you today, they are going to come with you tomorrow. They will stand with you. The initiative, you'll take it, they're going to come and follow you.
Thank you, Jafar. Ibu? Okay, sure.
As Vaibhav said, that laying that first brick matters. I guess I want to give an example here that when I was traveling to Nepal, actually when I was applying for this conference, there were many friends of mine who were asking that, can we apply too? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And then the next question that follows is, but you have done so much work prior to this conference and we have not done anything, so like, will they select us? And that's a genuine question. I mean, everyone would have thought about that, but what my answer would be is that just take the first step. If you have taken the first step towards doing something, I think you have covered the 50% of it. Because after that, once you've taken the first step, like you keep on doing and then the wall, like, then you like lay bricks one after the other and then the wall is formed. But laying that first brick is what it is. Also the finances thing, I think you got to value yourself first. Like, if you, even if it's a small investment, if you're not investing in your idea or your project, I don't think any one of the investors would be interested to invest in you. Because if you don't value yourself, I don't think anyone else would. So keep that thing in your mind. Like, your value is up there. Like, you decide what your value is, and then go into the market to find investors or something. Yeah.
Jenny, you have something to say?
I'm going to be talking about this from like a social justice perspective, but I think to start social activism, the most important thing is to start making conversations. And what I mean by this is that when it comes to social activism, the most efficient way to change someone is to talk to them and to connect with their beliefs. And if like, beliefs don't align, but if there is something you want to teach them, you have to teach them from the depth of their heart, and that's through conversation. And so in my experience, when my teacher was discriminating against girls and kind of like generalizing that guys are stronger, girls are weaker, I spoke to my teacher, I confronted him, and I told him that that was wrong. That was wrong for him to assume about all girls. And that's something all of us can do. We don't need money for that. We don't need resources for that. You just need your voice. But then ultimately, your voice is going to change the teacher's perspective. And that's going to change the way your teacher holds his classes. And that's going to change the way the girls and boys feel about themselves, about their gender. And so start conversations on taboo topics such as like gender inequality, mental health. Start these conversations, make it normal, and connect to people one-to-one.
How many of you have heard of Steve Jobs? Could you raise your hand, please? How many of Steve Jobs? You know. All right. So, as you know, it was founder of Apple and former CEO, and he once said a very famous quote. You might have heard of it. The only people who thought they can. I will say differently. The only people who thought they could do it. No, it's like the only people who thought they can change the world are actually the ones who actually do it. And because when you look at it from bigger perspective, you might see that motivation is very important. But motivation lasts only for a very, very, very short period of time. And it's like very significant in context to what Shardul and Vaihap said about the wall and about the bricks. It's just because of that the motivation needs to transform into habits. If it transforms into habits, then everything's going all right. And you can just develop, because it's just like automatic. So you can forget about motivation, you can forget about other things, and you can focus on just improving yourself further and furthermore. And coming back to the finance issues, I would agree with Shardul that it would shortly come, sooner or later. Yeah, that's absolutely true. But it's like, as I've mentioned already, standing there before, like during the social perspective panel, I reckon, I said that it's most important for us to do what we love than to do what make us a living. Simple as that. Because if you live with passion, if you can constantly improve yourself, if you can constantly work, share your story, motivate others, and finally empower others, that's what makes us a better human beings. And that actually, I think, is the only solution for now in the current situation nowadays. And that's in my opinion, as a European, is an answer for the problems we have and we need to manage.
Thank you so much, Ivo. I think we're coming into this panel, if I'm right, organizer. How much time do we have? It's all right, till then we'll go on. So now I have actually I have a lot of questions, but I need to streamline it. One question is quite personal, and another one is global, not personal, right? I would go with the personal thing. You have had a journey of some years, and in this journey, had there been any point when you have broke out, like when you have been hurt really bad, when you've went on to your knees and you've thought like, how am I going to raise up myself? How am I going to deal with all of these problems? Because we know when we are actively involved with the society, with a bigger circle, all of these things happen. And just before our panel, we had a presentation by Supeksha of mental health, and all of these comes in this journey. So this is quite personal, and I would also like to share that if some of the panelists do not want to answer it, it's all right. They have the freedom of expression and of not expressing as well. So if anyone wants to share any point of time that you have feel empty, that you feel that you cannot go ahead, if anyone of you are fine with it, you can answer. Jafar?
So, like talking about that particular time, yes, there was a moment in my life when our mother left us. I was totally like got out of touch. So slowly and gradually, things got better. And I started to learn like how to let go of the past, how to just release those things which don't make sense. Because replaying those scenes all time over and over, it's just there to cloud your judgment. So at that time, I really thought it, and still, like there comes these sort of times where you feel like you are empty. But what I do is that, like, I have my diary, I write it every time. Just when I was coming in from airport as well, I was capturing each and every moment over here in Nepal, the cultural night yesterday. So whenever there is that sort of time, I just go back to my diary and I see that yes, it was me who came here up till this point. It was me who went through all this, but this is how I tackle it. And then before making any decision, what I do is that I make sure that there is a difference of one night. Like I take a decision today, I'll sleep today, and then tomorrow, again, when I'll wake up, I'll see my diary. What's the decision I took yesterday? I wrote that. And then I'll make sure again that decision I took, whether it's fine enough for me, what will be the effect after a few time of that.
Thank you. Jenny?
So failures, yes. So with my organization, we hold workshops for education, but sometimes in these workshops we expect like 50 students to come, and then only 8 people come, and then that when that happened, like I kind of felt bad for my team as well, just because we put so much effort into this, but then the results weren't as expected. And I think that like a lot of the times when we, people who want to make a change, feel low or feel bad about yourself, it's because you made you did something that wasn't up to your expectations, or it didn't go as planned. And what I do in those situations is that I think it's important to admit your mistake. What I mean by that is, maybe the workshop I held, which wasn't successful, maybe it wasn't successful because there was something my team was doing that was wrong, or that wasn't responding to what the people needed. And admitting to those mistakes, admitting to what your team couldn't do, and then figuring those things out, like figuring out like what you can do, learning from those mistakes is, I think, crucial into bouncing back and finding the motivation to restart what you're doing. So admit your mistakes, and then use those don't let those mistakes like discourage you. Yeah, because yes, it's discouraging, but everyone fails from time to time. So yeah, find the positivity in that, and then use that as a learning experience to tackle the holes in your project that you're missing.
Thanks, Jenny. Vaibhav?
So for me, it's simple. I want all of your concentration on this as much as possible. Eh? I'll be honest. It's simple. Eh? If you want to go to heaven, you have to go through hell. It's simple. You have no choice out there. You have no choice out there. It's as simple as it could be. So my question to you is simple. Eh? What happens if you get dirty? You get into a ditch. You get wet. What do? You go, take a shower, come back, and go back to work. It's not that once you get dirty, you stop walking. It's like once you get dirty, you bath, get ready again, and keep walking. So what I do is that I have a ritual. As our wonderful Pakistani bhai said, what I do is that in my diary I have 2 blocks. The first is the success log, and the other is the super success log. So whenever something good happens, like I being a speaker to GITC, it goes in the success log. And in the super success log, what I do is that I put the situations where I failed miserably in the super success log. And let's say today, many times it happened. So when I began my journey as a speaker, what I did is that I made a proposal that I want to do a free workshop in your school. And I went to 8 schools, 10 schools with all enthusiasm. I gave that letter that, sir, we want to give a free training to your students. And when I came back, they said, all of them said, we'll give you a call. 7 days, 15 days, 1 month, 2 months. I never got that call. But over the period of time, over the period of 2 years, I have been a speaker almost in all of those schools as a paid speaker there. I went there so that I could give a free there, and things changed. So my concept to you is very simple, right? And if I have to place it in Hindi, it goes like, गिर जाना मेरा अंत नहीं, गिर जाना मेरा अंत नहीं. Thank you.
For me, it's quite similar to other speaker stories, because I had so many failures in my life, let's call it, so many situations which made me discouraged fully on what I was doing. A story which I would like to present to you today is a moment when I came to a British school. Like first few days, first weeks, what happened was like I was completely alone there. I knew nobody. At least I knew the language, but I knew nobody. Everything was new to me, and I needed to do 7 subjects, just extended because it was IB. So both academically and non-academically, it was very, very tough. But gradually, slowly, it got better. And finally, after a year, I can say that I became a prefect. So it's like a big accomplishment, let's say, because it's very, very unpopular that foreigners or international students are being chosen as prefects. And that just like boosted me again. Although I know that some failures are coming next year, it's like, it's obvious, but you also know that you need to make 1 step back to make 2 steps forward. And that's actually how I see it. And that makes me hope for a future that it won't be worse, just because it cannot be worse. Because if only you believe in yourself, then it's just no option, no chance that something can go wrong. Obviously, times will be tougher, but there is always an exit. There is always a plan B, as we call it, and there is always a way up to the heaven, as Vaihab said.
So the prefect thing that you just said, I have a pretty similar story. Back in my 10th grade, we had these house captain elections in our school, and I was a complete introvert back in my 10th. I had no friends, literally. So I used to be like this guy sitting in one corner of the table, reading, listening to music and whatever. I, stood up for the elections, and then everyone in my class was like, "Ye kahan banega?" Like, that like he's not gonna be the house captain. So I used to like think, okay, why are they saying so? Is it that they don't like me or something, or is it that they don't see the capabilities to become a house captain in me? So I went and I tried to approach them like why do you say so? Why do you continuously bully me like the whole year until the elections were happening or something? So then they had no proper answer to it. So that was like the completely low level of emotional state that I was like completely demotivated. That at a point I asked myself, did I make a mistake? And the other day I was just, at that period, I was staring into the mirror and I was like, I'm not competing with my whole class or not with the people who are contesting for the election, but my competition is with the guy in the mirror. Wow. The guy that stares right into the eye when you stand in front of the mirror. So I was like, I don't have to prove my worth to all of them, but to myself. Am I worth of becoming the house captain? Yes. So I think it again comes to that you decide your value, and if you ever get demotivated, that's what I personally do. I just go stare into the mirror for an hour or maybe longer. I keep asking myself that is this the guy who was, and like right now if I get demotivated, I was like, I have become the house captain then. Like I actually became the house captain back in my 10th grade after the elections, and I had like only 56 votes, as in only 56 people voted for someone else and not me out of the whole school. And that 56 was my class. Yeah. So right now, like at this point, if I ever get demotivated or something, I just go back to the mirror and I was like, I pulled that off. Why can't I do this? So yeah.
So guys, first formula of getting to a journey of miles and miles is getting started. Second is accepting the failure. If you're not going to accept the failure, make sure you're not going to top any day. Failure is natural and it will come on your path, but that won't stop you unless you stop yourself. If you stop yourself from going into the mirror, seeing yourself, then no one can ever save you. The only person that can save you is you and the person in the mirror. And the person in the past that have had achievements, like Sardul said, he still goes on to the past, seeing the achievement of being a house captain, right? That's not a small achievement. So you have to sometimes go to your journey of the past and learn that you were something then, you can be something now, and of course in the future you are going to share the empowerment to others as well. Now, a final question to the panel, and the floor will be open to the audience. The final question is, of course, related to where you represent, which country you represent. We know we have a lot of problems, right? In most of the countries, even in the developed countries like Japan, as Jenny said, there are some problems. What are the solutions? How can we be the part of solutions? Let me put it into precise words. When it comes to teens and youths, especially, many of us have been excluded from going into the highly serious circles, highly official circles. They think we're too kiddish to be amongst them. They think we do not understand. They think we just understand Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon and all of those things. Yeah. So in your country, in your space, in your society, what are the problems related to the youth, and how as a person are you being a part of the solution to that problem? Let's talk very few about what is the problem, and let's talk more about how you are being a part of the solution, starting from Shardul. Hey, okay, that's fine. Starting from Jaffer. He's always the first guy.
Sure. So, like, I've already mentioned the problems what we have. So, coming towards the solution, what I believe, I'm staunch believer of inclusiveness. Because if you will just take them and involve with you, that is how they will learn. And by inclusiveness, that is where like you can make a difference, because taking them along together and having them conducting the different activities and getting them together by including them, this is where like I found would be the solution.
Jenny?
Okay, so issues in Japan. Well, I think one big issue Japan has is that we are a homogeneous country, so the majority of the population are Japanese people. We don't have like diversity in religion that much. And so I think there's one way that people live. So you go to high school, you graduate, you go to university, get a good job, make money, that's it. And so there's a very stereotypical way of living in Japan that's normal there. So I think whenever someone goes to study abroad or starts to start their own company, or if someone goes away from that direction, you become a minority in Japan. And I feel like that's one reason why Japan has been like economically declining over the past few years, because up until now, Japan had an amazing economy because everyone did the same thing in their own companies. But now, since the whole world's like globalizing and entrepreneurship is becoming a big thing, Japan isn't catching up to that level of passion, and I think going out and doing your own thing. And so how I am contributing to that is, well, so as I said, there is a lot of conformity in Japan. There's a lot of like rules. So speaking out about gender inequality in Japan is already me being a minority within the rest of like the Japanese majority. So speaking out, and also I think education is important, but not school education. I think education outside of school, whether that's reading books about other people, listening to TED Talks, I feel like listening to people's stories, like the full story. Don't just look at, for example, I read a book on Michelle Obama, but we all know Michelle Obama. She's like the first lady of like the United States, and that's all we know about her. But then if you read her whole story, it's like you see all her failures, you see all her successes, and I think knowing the whole story is really important. And yeah.
Thank you, Jenny. Vaibhav?
I'm very sorry to say there are no problems. There is something called challenges. And this simple perspective change is what I think can bring a hell lot of difference. So when it comes to challenge, the biggest challenge we have is that we love to kick. Okay, all of us, Nepalese from eastern part of Nepal, everyone, we have this wonderful habit is that we love to kick. Whenever we get an opportunity, why is this wrong? Let's kick the government. Government is not doing this, government is not doing that, right? I was talking with Zafar Bhai the last evening, right? We were discussing, for every single thing in the world, we have someone to kick. Like, let's say we have any problem, little challenge, no problem, a little challenge. He's not doing it right, she's not doing it right. What if we take a little responsibility? It's like you are there in the road saying that the road is very dirty. You are just like, you are having a pan on your face and say, road bahut ganda hai. That's the habit we have, you know. That's the habit we have. So the first thing that if we are able to change, will bring all the difference is the perspective, first of all, that there are no problems. There are only challenges that are meant to be solved. It's like that the locks are made because they are keys. It's a basic understanding. So that's what I'm saying. And along with that, one thing I would like to add is that another concept that all of us have in common is that talent. You know, talent. You know, Howard Gardner, a scientist, research scientist, if I'm not from UK, he said that talent are not just education and academics. You know, logical is only one. There are 9 intelligences. Right? There are different streams, and all of us are born intelligent in some way or the other. But our society, what it does is that if someone is getting the good grades, he's talented. You know, the mother is like, see him, see Sharma ji ka beta. You know, that's the habit they have. See him, see that. What if we can simply realize that all of us are born talented in our own way? That single perception change can bring a heck lot of difference. So summing up my words is that first of all, there are no problems. There are challenges that are meant to be solved. The second, I say that laat marna chhodna padega. We have to stop kicking and start realizing that what is wrong, there is some contribution of ours. Not just have that pan in your face and say, both gone bad. So if we bring that change, I think every single thing in the world can change. We can together change with small initiatives. And that's what I'm trying to do with my Smiley mission right now. You know, all of us are so busy with work right now that it's so hard to take out time to be happy. So every evening, what I do is that I'll do today in this hotel, I go to the random waiters and people working here. I just go to them and say, I'm in a mission to make people happy. Sir, would you mind please smiling? And this might seem very simple, but out of the 3,000 people I have met in more than 1.5 years, I do that every single day. I have a fever of 5 degrees and still I went. My father is like, what are you doing? Everyone criticizes at that time. I'm not supposed to do it. But it's the integrity you hold to yourself. It's the obligation you hold to yourself when you say that, no, I'm not here to kick, but to build. And that's how I think. To the people I have met, there have some people whom I met in Smiley Mission, whom I made smile. They hugged me and said, you are going to be something big someday. In my eyes with that smile, like I'm saying to you, you are going to be something big someday. That hug, you know. There have been people like that. And I think some people who've been in that journey, in my Smiley Mission specifically, like they say, that was a very bad day for me. Thank you for making me smile. Things happen, you know. Every single day wrong things happen. And we are made as I said before, if you want the prize, make sure that you are ready to pay the price. Thank you so much for that energy. Thank you.
All right, so I would like to kick off with an issue which we are all currently fighting with, so climate change. An issue which is occurring everywhere, and as we've already talked, everyone's affected by it. And what's happened in Poland, and what was also mentioned by Mao, we have like quite similar thing, which is called Youth Climate Change Poland, which is like really rapidly growing over the last few months. This organization made a rally which took like around, I would say, 50,000 participants in one march in Warsaw, which appeared to be the biggest march ever focused on climate change, focused on ecology. And that like really make people believe that what they are fighting for, it's worth it. But as you know, to make life changes, to make like changes which cannot be introduced only by yourself, you need to make people first aware of them. And as we live in democracy, you know that government or United Nations or whatever, they need to introduce it. And they won't introduce it unless people will be fighting for it, unless people will be aware of it. And that's like the biggest problem I think we face for now. But there are also like lots of different issues, lots of different cases which we are considering in Poland. And as a solution for such problems, such challenges, in Poland there was funded something like called Exempt from Theory, which is an organization which does an Olympiad of social projects. You just need to arrange like group of few friends, and you are given a mentor by this organization, and for a few months you are helped with running your own social project, and afterwards if your initiative is good, you might be invited to like big gala, during which you will be given a certificate branded by Google and Coca-Cola, and also you will be given an award of like one of the best social projects in Poland, and that's what lots of people do. That's quite popular in Poland, and it's like really good to see that there's the group of people which really want to change this, really want to fight for something. It's not just few people around Poland. It's like a massive groups of people, but they just need to cooperate. If they cooperate, the chances for winning are just increasing.
Shardu?
I think I only have one liner for this. Everyone's aware of the challenges that the subcontinent faces. Maybe Bangladesh, maybe Nepal, maybe Pakistan, or maybe India. We have a hell lot of challenges. But I think the solution to it would be changing yourself at the ground level first. And then gradually, I think all the challenges will like, turn into rewards or something. Yeah. So just make the change at the ground level in yourself, maybe around you, maybe your friends, maybe your family. And I think the subcontinent would be a better place.
Can I add up to that a single line? So it's like when we say change, it's like there's a wonderful person I know as Acharya Tulsi. What he says is that if a person changes, the society gets inspired by him and the society changes. If the society changes, the local community, the city gets inspired by that community and the city changes. And once the city changes, the country gets inspired by it, and that's how the country changes. And when a country changes as a whole, the world sees it as an inspiration, and that's how the world changes. So it begins with a single person. It's true that we alone cannot change the world, but our work as an inspiration can definitely change the world.
Before I open the floor, I would like to highlight some of the key points on this question. I really like the word inclusiveness that was shared by Jaffer, that he himself would start the programs or go into the programs that are inclusive and that should be inclusive. He would be one of the advocate for inclusiveness. So for this panel, I would like to request, or I would like to request all of you to take a place for in near future that you would reject the manalist if you are called in any of them. The manalist is basically the panel with all men. So to all four guys, men here on the panel, I would like to request to take a place that you won't ever attend a panel which would be only of men. Yeah? Okay, we had a good takeaway from this panel. Now the floor is open for the question. I would like to request anyone with a question to raise their hand and the mic will follow them. Actually, yeah.
Excuse me. Before just getting in, I have a message. Like, I can see still some faces. They didn't get the message we wanted to deliver. So
Okay,
if
yes,
in few
Jaffer.
lines,
Yeah.
if I can give it. All right, just like 2 minutes. Mother Earth is set ablaze. Nature is sprinkled with blood. The sacred soil exhales dark, smoky fumes. The scene is not from the latest Hollywood movie, nor does it depict the ugliness of Medusa. But it does wreak havoc in my heart. It does strike fear in my soul. Stand with me on the shores of Atlantic Ocean. Come with me to a place where humanity explodes and lives are changed forevermore. Stand with me on the shores of Atlantic Ocean, where Christopher Columbus and John Cabot gazed upon the horizon and thought, there is something more. They believed like there is something more. And just like today, gathering over here in this beautiful place, all of us have a vision that yes, there is something greater and bigger what we see in our world.
Nowadays, the teenagers and youths, like we all are involved in our phones and laptops, using social media so much that we are wasting so much of our time. And looking at you wonderful people, like you have used your time so effectively and productively. So I want to ask you, how do you avoid it and what message do you want to give to teenagers like me who are wasting the time?
It's a very good question. Like, the purpose of sharing stories was not like let you feel like this, but it was just sharing our experience. We had a campaign in Islamabad ground where we started off with anti-drug awareness. We had a campaign in which we organized different sports. Your goal, make your diary, write it, and read that goal every day. Yes, I have a passion, I'm gonna achieve it, and yes, you are gonna achieve it, and you don't waste your time.
Shardul, you want to answer? Yeah.
One, why do you think that social media is a waste of time? Can you?
Okay, by waste of time, I meant that like we only scroll the news feed and which don't have proper news, like they are not productive, and all we do is read the memes and pass our time or chat, and so I don't think that's productive enough, so I think it's a waste of time in that sense.
Okay, so you mean to say that you just go surf your Instagram and then later you regret that it was a waste of time? Okay. So, see, social media, if you use it in a very productive way, I think that's the best platform we've got right now. Because how did I get to know about this conference? Social media. How did I get to promote all my events for free? Social media. So, waste of time is a wrong term, I guess, but yeah, you can at least, like, instead of scrolling through the memes, scroll through the memes for 5 minutes. I'm not saying don't like, yeah, but talk to people, talk to all your connections. When was the last time you talked to one of your friend, maybe who lives in the other state or something? Talk to them, ask them what are they doing, what are they up to and something. Because all of these conversations can actually help you improve what you're doing. Like maybe you might find an opportunity like this. Maybe on a meme page you might find an opportunity like this. So yeah, what you do matters on social media. What you do defines if it's a waste of time or not. So I think that's it.
Thank you, Vaibhav. Yeah.
Ma'am, can I know your name, please?
Sweta Khanna.
Sweta. So Sweta, I have a simple question for you. Like, imagine you are a little kid, okay? What happens is that your father gives you a wonderful little play car, okay? And you are playing with that play car and having a lot of fun. At that point of time, when you're having a lot of fun playing with that little car, after some times, he gives you a remote control car. That's a lot bigger. Will you not forget that little car?
Yes.
That's how it's simple. You know, we cannot, you know, when we say the wrong use of social media, all of us can do it. But the question is that it's the smaller car, you know, it's the smaller car, the social media, when we say using the waste way of using, it's the small car. So once you get a bigger goal, when you get that bigger remote control car in your hand, when you get a bigger goal, when you have something else to do, you won't find time to use social media. Right? So it's simple. You don't have to stop using social media. You have to find something that is more important to you than social media. That's simple. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vaibhav. Do we have another question?
Can I just answer?
Okay, Eva, sorry.
All right. So from my perspective, from my experience, I have a proverb which I'm like really liking, let's say, that you should firstly go to bed, or rather you should wake up with determination and go to bed with satisfaction. And that's actually perfectly determines what should be important in your life, just for you, not for anyone other, not for your parents, not for your friends, just for you, especially for you. And this issue, like social media among other issues, it's just about choosing your priorities in life, just about choosing what's important for you, because it might seem, for example, that for now, like scrolling for 5 minutes through newsfeed on Facebook or whatever, it's just nothing. But if you add it all up, it appears that you can just save like few hours every month, every week, and so on and so on and so on. And you just need to think of what could you do to develop yourself in those spare hours. What can you do to just be better person, have better personality, and just make a progress in your life. Thank you.
Jenny, you have something?
Hi, thank you for the question. I have something similar to say as Evo, but I think prioritizing is most important as youth, because we all scroll through Instagram. We look at YouTube videos all the time too. So I think really prioritizing what you want to do with your time is key. But also, I think the beauty of youth being engaged in these projects is that yes, we are engaged, but we are also youth, so we have like the time to have fun with our lives, right? So I don't want us to forget that. I don't think like 24 hours, 7 days a week, we have to be like invested in like studying or working on our projects. I think it's okay. Like you shouldn't feel bad that you want to unwind and spend time on your phone or with your friends. And I think we all understand that. And with that understanding, we try to balance both our fun time and our work time. So I think just understanding that it's okay to have fun and then to do that with what you want to work on is important.
Thank you. Also adding to all of the panelists' answer, I think we should make sure that we are not used by the social media, but we use the social media. It's a wonderful and powerful tool. Like you have to set how many hours you are gonna spend there, and when you're gonna spend there to scroll and to find memes to laugh at it's okay. It's not a crime. We just had a great presentation on mental health, and to have some fun time for yourself, it's okay. But even using TikTok, even making memes, you can make such provoking memes that would hit right on the head of the audience, right on the head of the viewers. You can make TikTok videos that's part of activism, right? You can post a photo that's a part of activism, and that's all right. Social media is a great tool, and until and unless you're used by it, it's not bad. You can use it, but to read a book is more interesting than to just read a status. Okay.
A little thing to add out there is that
Yeah, Babu.
unfollow a lot. You know, what you do is unfollow. There are some people in your Facebook feed who'll always have posts like life isn't perfect, but here is. There'll always be some people in your news feed doing such thing. They'll have more wonderful posts like Jindagi Jhandwa. Like they'll have wonderful thing in their post. Every time there'll be something that will feel negativity into your life. So what you have to simply do is that there's a simple button, 1, 2, 3 button in that post. Click that and say unfollow. That's more than enough. That's more than enough. And then the pages that bring up positivity like Glocal, put that into C first. And when you are using your Facebook, it's a very practical remedy that I use. I used to get distracted a lot before. And now, even if I'm wasting my time, I'm utilizing it. As my friend said, you are getting opportunities, you are viewing opportunities, you are getting motivational quotes. That is something encourage you. You get wonderful videos. There are wonderful pages like Goalcast that I would love to request you to watch. And such thing will help you grow. So simple formula, unfollow a lot to the people who say, life isn't perfect, but here is. And let me complete that. I wasn't having the courage to say that, Jindagi Jhandwa, fir bhi khamandwa. That's it. Thank you so much.
Do we have other questions? Oh yeah, 2 of the hands. Pramisha.
Hello. And so my question is, you guys are wonderful, and it was an honor to listen to, very productive discussion and get your insight into my brain. So my question is, the world is full of opinions, and that's not always the bad thing. And this opinionated world can give you opinions that might not make you happy. Opinion about your personal life, your work. Okay, you're doing this. This is bad. I think Babu is in media, a lot of media, right? And I think I should direct this question to Babu. You're in media, and like I said, people have so much opinion. And sometimes opinions they deserve to be ignored. Like, they don't make sense in itself. Like, stupid comments, right? But then there are comments which does make sense, but they are still negative, all right? And you don't want to believe those comments, all right? This comment is okay, but I don't think I want to just accept it. Because at the end of the day, we are also teenagers, and we are full of ourselves. We live in a bubble, and we think we're too good, right? So my question is, how do you deal with those kind of criticism? Not exactly constructive criticism, but which lies in between. Not exactly constructive criticism, and not exactly the worst criticism. So in between that, I hope I made myself clear.
Thank you so much for that question from the Global Teen Hero 2018. Thank you so much for that. So I think that it's very simple. Whenever you are trying to do something like Prashna as well, or all of our wonderful teens here, there are some people, some uncle and auntie, out of nowhere, they come to you and say, beta, ye sab to theek hai, lekin padhai likhai kaam aayega. There are some people, they come and say, everything what you're doing is okay, good, but at the end, only studies is going to matter. And you get opinions like that every now and then about education, this and that every time. So what you have to is that smile. What I personally do in that sense, in a wholesome, is that smile. Thank you, uncle. You are saying very right. You are saying very right. I really thank you for that opinion. It's very valuable. Just say good in their front and don't give a damn to it. It's very simple. Because you know that there is something that will pull you down. And when you understand that there is something that's pull you down, there is no sense in standing there. And moreover, in the cases, there are some cases, like a very few, that make you think that is it right or is it wrong. So many times what I say is that whenever I'm asked about this, the opinion thing, there are some people who give you, I think I got this advice from one of my mentors called Abdush Mia, he said me that, Vaibhav, people say thinking positive and thinking negative, right? So you don't have to think positive. I'm sorry. You know, all the room, we have been hearing this from such a long time. Think positive, think positive, think positive, think positive. But I'm sorry, you don't have to think positive. Because thinking positive might not always be the solution, right? So let's say that we have a lot of population in country, right? And the population is continuously increasing. And then we say think positive, and we think that slowly the population will decrease, slowly it will happen on its own. It won't work, isn't it? It won't happen. So the solution to everything is thinking constructive rather than positive or negative, right? And as Prashma said, in the constructive situations as well that come up when you are in a gut feeling of thinking, I think it's so important that we take up time to talk to ourselves. You know, you get in the mirror and try to understand it. Okay, that's an opinion. Is it right or is it wrong? You try to talk to yourself, and when you have that self-talk to yourself, I think after some time, you try to get, you on your own get the answer to it. And that answer is something that works, and always mentors. The mentors you really trust who have been helping you without any selfless intention, taking suggestions from them as well works. And so it's important that we choose to decide. We decide to choose. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Babu. We do have another question from the sister.
Hello. Thank you so much. This is me, Thalma Molla. I'm a social activist. So my question goes to Zafar. And my question is, what are your top 3 values? And how are you living those values every day? Thank you.
If you could please repeat the question, you're not audible.
What are your top 3 values? And how are you living those values every day?
All right, top 3 values,
you.
right? Is
Top
that?
three.
Top 3 values and how are you living with it?
Yeah. All right. So, like, we have already, Babu is over here. I was thinking we won't be getting the questions, but still, it's good that we are getting questions. Yeah. Yeah. So, as we were speaking about earlier about that social media thing, we have done enough on it. You can just see at the start of the conference, the general manager for Glocal Teen Hero, he mentioned that I am doing almost 90% of my business on my cell phone. So that's social media. And talking about the values, you are there. It's the decision making for me. Passion and dedication. Decision making comes within yourself. Like you were asking about criticism and opinions. In a world full of opinions, trust me, you are the one who you know on which track you are. Although there is a bit of ignorance, like during exams, we are wasting our time. We know that we are wasting our time, but still, we know about it. So there are, I fully agree with him. Like this is not all about positive thinking all the time. You know, like just Pope Francis, once he was asked a question in a conference, like, what are your views, Pope, about gay marriage? He said, who am I to decide it? Who am I to decide it? So the answer was, they better know. So you know about it, but still you're reluctant, you're hesitant about it, and it's the decision making where you have to just look about.
The floor is full of people, but empty of questions. So, anyone with question? Yeah.
Good afternoon once again. This is me, Samad from Viratnagar, as I told you earlier. So I have 2 questions, and my first question is, what are the mistakes that you guys have committed in your journey till now, and which you would like to correct if you had the opportunity to time travel? And my second question is, as this is the empowerment panel, so do you guys have any initiatives through which you could involve underprivileged people who are laborious, who are talented, but who are not skillful? So do you guys have any initiatives? If yes, what are those? Thank you.
It's a bit personal, but still, yes, there are. Everyone dream about it, like go to time machine and correct those mistakes. Yes, as my chair also mentioned about that, it comes with times. You do mistakes, then you learn from it. I want to keep it very simple due to shortage of time as well. Coming on to your second question, that is like, is there any platform or what we are doing about unprivileged people or people like unprivileged? You can take anyone like in our society who like we don't feel for them or like that. So again, there is social media thing. We are all connected to each other now on social media. And sitting over here, like for the past 3 days, trust me, it was one of the wonderful time of my life. I had best people around. I met them. I had many ideas, and I fully support your initiative as well. Like, is there something we're doing? Yes, we're organizing a committee that is working for transgenders in federal capital, and Ma'am Siropao in Pakistan. She's a transgender woman, and now she is in NADRA office, a National Identity and Registration Office. She got from there. So that was the part of our campaign. We went to those people, and we asked them that, yes, you're part of ourselves. That is why I was talking about inclusiveness, inclusivity. You have to involve them. It's about the involvement. Like, if we would have just left the stage without asking you, is there any question with you people? That won't make a difference. But this is the thing, like, you have to involve them. Yes, we are doing it. Is there any of your initiative? You're open to share it with me, all the panelists, and everyone around, like everyone over here. They are doing great job, and I'm very, very happy to see the talented youth of Nepal. I went to local market other day, and I didn't get that polythene bag. And I was so happy that, see, they are actually working on it. And it's you who are going to initiate it. It's you who are going to think about it, and then you'll get it.
Hello, Samartha. Yeah, going good. So when you asked about the mistakes thing, you know what mistake I did? I had thought from the very beginning of when I came to this conference, almost a week ahead, that I'll click a selfie from the stage. And I did a mistake of leaving my phone in the table. That's the last mistake I did. You know, when you talk about doing mistakes, we do mistakes every single day. And when you talk about the time travel, you know what I would rather choose? I would rather choose that I don't want to time travel. If I had a chance to look back and go back and correct my mistakes, I wouldn't do that. Because if I look back to what has happened, the mistakes I did yesterday have helped me become the person I am today. So that mistake makes sense, you know. So there's no point in thinking that that is a mistake I did. That, you know, because that's making the difference, that helping me grow in a long term. So if you ask me if I would like to look back and correct those mistakes, no. I do mistakes every single day, and by the way, I forget a lot. I have been into my training programs, left my laptop, and went to the airport. I forget every single thing you can think of, you know. So doing mistakes is the beauty. That's the beautiful part. Because when you do mistakes, that's when you learn. It's a time when people don't clap about your learning, but you can choose to appreciate yourself. You can take back your journal and write back, okay, you can, you know, as I said before, go onto your super success log and write down the mistake you did. And believe me, in some time, I don't know how that has happened, but I have a couple many things in my super success log. And within a period of 6 months and 1 year, something that happens that is completely contradictory. So first question, simple. If I had a chance to go back and correct my mistakes, I would choose heck not to go back and correct them. I'm so happy that I made those mistakes. I'm proud of myself. I look back my back. Oh my God, I did that mistake. I'm proud of that, really. And the second question, what I am doing to help the underprivileged students. So what I've always believed is that, as I said before, all of us are talented and intelligent in our own ways, right? But it's the way it is. Not everyone is financially sound. So with our company, Success Society International, our mission to make education more practical. So with the projects we lead, the programs we organize, we make sure that we keep away some seats for the students who cannot pay. And we invite them for free to be in the program. Moreover, my smiley mission is what I do with the underprivileged students sometimes. Along with that, I go to the government school for my seminars and programs, and I don't charge anything for that. And I know you as well are doing wonderful works to help those people. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Can I just say something real quick?
Okay, I will address the first question. Yes, everyone thinks that, you know, if we had those 6 infinity stones, we could like go back and correct all the mistakes that we did. But no, whatever mistakes that you do, I think that's those mistakes are responsible for the person that you are today. As in, if you learn or don't learn from your mistakes also, it's just that the person that you are today is because of the mistakes that you have made in the past. And thanks, Weber, for like saying everything that I had in my mind. So, yeah, but, that's it. Like, just anything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So, yeah, I want to wrap up on that.
Can I
So
say
now
something
we're-
real quick?
Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. Jenny.
So I actually kind of disagree with what these two were saying, in terms that I am a believer, more of a believer of analyzing your mistakes and taking your time to kind of look at what you did wrong and then like analyze it and then learning from it. And so, like I said before, like I organized the event. It took a lot of time, effort, people. We called it a speaker, and then only 8 people showed up. And then that was kind of like a low for us on my team. And then through that, I learned the importance of listening to what the people want. Because especially I think in like developed countries, it's like we are really lucky to have a lot of things that sometimes we don't know what the community wants. There's a big problem, but we don't know how to approach it. And so, and that realization was something I figured out once I analyzed the mistakes. And the thing is, success is never linear, right? Success is a lot of bumps, both highs and lows. I've read a lot of biographies on successful people, and no successful person has become to where they are before, approaching a slump in their life. And so I think there is value in analyzing mistakes, because mistakes don't happen that often, as much as we think. So really use those mistakes. It is important to keep a positive mindset, but also at the same time, it's important to acknowledge that, sometimes we are in the wrong and we can fix that.
Just quickly, all right?
Okay.
Right. I would agree with all of you actually, but the thing is that I have a short story, which might be an answer for your question, which is about a man who were given $20 million as like a part of, let's say, money was given to him by a company, and he was meant to invest it properly and just make something out of it and just grab bigger revenue. And what happened? He just lost all of it. Don't ask me why. He just lost it. And the thing is that he went to his boss and asked him, knowing that he are very likely to be fired. And his boss said, "No, you're not fired. I just invested 20 million in your development." And I think that's the answer to all of those mistakes. Those are not mistakes, those are just steps in making a bigger progress. Because if you for example, you made 3 mistakes on your way, on the 4th one, on the 4th level, you won't make it, but you will learn from all of it what you did before. And I think that's like the summary of all of what we've said pretty much. And coming back to the second question about the unprivileged students, this problem exists, let's be honest, everywhere. And it's just a question of approach. Me personally, I would be rather in favor of just systematic, let's say, solutions, so that government proposes something and it's like widening all over the country, pretty much. But it's like obvious that it may last for some time, but it won't help everyone. So it's just a place for us to just step out and just show what we can do, because the problems are different all over the world. It's like just about getting used to the community you are trying to help and just making people better and just trying to help. Simple as that.
Thank you, Ivo. So it's a wrap up, but before wrapping up, I would like to highlight what this panel talked about. It talked on many things actually, from personal thing to what they think they will be doing, and at last, this one thing is I think very personal to me, and it motivates me again and again. For this panel, what is more important is not having the similar topic to discuss tomorrow or a year after, but having to remember the topics and the actions that we will be sharing with all other audience after 5 years. Same people after 5 years. You want to remind yourself what you are going to do in all these days, that after 5 years, you have something to share. You have something to say, yes, I did these things precisely. Yes, I was able to be the solution of this problem. And I believe this extraordinary panel, these special people, lovely people, are going to be that superpowers, not superpowers politically, but superpowers among the youths, because you guys are again going to be in the youths even after 5 years. You're still so young. We are young, actually, I'm also young. We're still so young. And reminding all of you that whatever they've said, however they have come here, they've not become this person in a day. They have had patience, they have had failures which they accepted, and they had their personal values to which they sticked up. And now they are here smiling like Vaibhavis and all other panelists are. I would like to request all of the audience to catch up with them after this panel discussion. You can ask their social networking sites and all other information that you need. And for now, we're wrapping up this with a round of applause from all of us. Thank you very much.
But you forgot something. You forgot something. Anyone can make any guesses? Ma'am forgot something. Yeah, in the starting part, you said that there was someone in this panel who was a participant last time.
Come on, man. Oh, come on.
Yeah,
Ma'am,
yeah.
just-
Thank you for
just
reminding.
one question,
Yeah, Ivo, yeah.
Thank you so much.
He was just saying that he's the person ma'am was talking about when he was starting the session.
So, Vaibhav, last year Vaibhav was someone in a corner of the audience. Okay, right there. Right there. He was the audience.
Yeah,
and there
it's
was,
for you. Like you go and sit again.
there were other panelists. There were other panelists. They were talking and everything, and Vaibhav was seeing himself on this position. And this year, he's right here. You are the audience this year. You can be not even the panelist, but a moderator as well. Next year or anything you want to, just get started. That's the key. Just get started. Don't think of people who criticize you, who passes negative comments, because that's their profession and they're not paid for that profession, but they will do that again and again. Just get started. And Ivo's remark will be ending this officially. Thank you.
Yeah. One sec.
My role is up. These people are now taking the roles of moderators, and they will be ending this panel.
You just mentioned that 5 years down the line, if you would be sitting here again talking to people, I just want to make this clear. You're speaking last. Vaibhav, you're speaking last. If 5 years down the line, if we are like again sitting over here, you are the one to speak in the last. Like we are speaking first.
Dear all, I think
just 2 sentences. Because you've heard all of these stories, you've heard about our experiences, but the thing is that, like a summary of all those things, I would say, don't believe you have to be like anybody to be somebody. Just stay yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you to all our panelists and moderator. I think...
Who are we? We're champions. Who are we? We're champions. Who are we? We're champions. That's how we correct mistakes. I forgot my phone there, so I borrowed a phone from her, and I made my video. That's how we correct mistakes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vaibhav. Now
It's a wrap-up from the moderator's side. Yeah.
Okay. We are running short of time. I'm really sorry to interrupt you guys. So I think this was a panel discussion that I could relate myself with the most. I was thrilled to hear the real-life experiences, the examples, and the analogies that you guys came up with, connecting with the empowerment. That was very nice. Also rightly said by our panelists that it truly depends on us to choose day one or one day. As well, ladies and gentlemen, the stories of these amazing teenagers are not just setting an example, but are also sending us the message that we teenagers are the true agent and the change makers of the society. Also, regarding the social media, if I may speak for everybody, I think we are the lucky generation of youth that has access to worldwide connection and networking. So let us make most out of it through social media. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of everybody, thank you once again to our panelists and our dear moderator. Also, thank you to our speaker, Ms. Supeksha Neopane. I would like to request you to please join us on the stage. Now, I would like to request the IT and Design Manager at GlocalPvt.Ltd, Mr. Ajay Pandey, and our dear volunteer to facilitate our amazing speakers with token of love and appreciation. Can we please have a huge round of applause for them? Let us have a round of group picture now.